Welcome to our new series about the gates in the human design system, such a key part of the system. Today, you're going to get to learn about the gate 51, which is known as shock in traditional human design and initiation in quantum human design. And you're going to get to go in depth with this particular gate because we're drawing on my transit reports over the last 4 years. It's going to take you much more in depth than you would get in any of the books, for example. And if you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you get alerted every time we release one of these new gate videos. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So the gate 51 is on the will center and it's in the centering circuit. So it's part of individual circuitry. And the gate 51 is known in traditional human design as the gate of shock and as initiation in quantum human design. So I have this gate defined in my chart. I know it well. I have to say, when I was younger and I didn't know any better, I think I would shock people without realizing it. I tend to be a pretty direct person, say what I think. I have learned to wait for right timing. I've gotten much better at that as I've gotten older. But I did used to do it without really realizing I was doing it. But when you have this energy defined in your chart, and we're all going to have it defined during this transit, it has kind of like a force of its own. It is half of the channel of the priest or priestess or the shaman. And so it is a very spiritual energy, particularly when it's connected to the 25, which is its mate. And its shadow expression is to either say shocking things or to create shocking situations. Now, I know I have this defined in my chart. When I was younger, I experienced that a lot. I also experienced the disempowered aspect of it, which was to receive shocking experiences or to have people say shocking things to me. I had no idea what was going on. Then, if you like to shock people, or if you gain power or you gain control or the illusion of control by shocking people, then that's kind of the power over or the shadow way of expressing that 51. Okay. And people do this all the time, right? They say shocking things to try to throw other people off so that they can then be seen as somebody who's more powerful. A lot of times this is done totally unconsciously. It's not like people necessarily sit down and think of doing it, but it happens. I also know that I have done this in the past, not really realizing what I was doing, but I did do that. But then its awakened expression is initiation. And the shock really fits with the initiation when we can mediate the shock so that it's not so shocking. Because initiation into higher consciousness pretty much always involves, for the most part, breaking apart lower frequencies of energy and sometimes identity forms that go along with it. Because when we want to evolve and we want to expand and we want to grow ourselves, a lot of times we have to break up old patterns. We have to break up ways of thinking. We have to break up our expectations and our assumptions. And that can be kind of shocking, right? Disruptive at any rate. I would call the 51 disruptive. And one of the reasons that traditionally we have a lot of ritual around this idea of moving into higher consciousness, right, is to provide padding and a container so that when things are breaking down, you are being held in that process so that the ego can kind of fracture and break apart so that it can grow into something different, right? Like a snake shedding its skin, for example, right? A little more dramatically, like the phoenix, right? That burns up and then comes back again, right? All that kind of energy where something has to break down for something new to come through. The idea of having this lit up that helps us to create a breakthrough in ourselves first, right? Because we really want to practice that and get really good at that, knowing how to generate a breakthrough for ourselves, especially if you're feeling stagnant or you're feeling stuck, or if you're in you're kind of in a gnarly place and you're like, fighting or seeing things as being really critical, right? You want to generate a breakthrough for yourself so that you can get into a higher elevation in your consciousness. So with that 51, it's a tricky energy because you might find that other people are saying things that are shocking or are creating shocking situations, or they're receiving them. And you want to protect yourself from that by realizing, oh, those are the kind of the off expressions of that energy. And if you're constantly kind of going, okay, where's the breakthrough coming here for me? Or how can I help generate a breakthrough for clients, for example? If you're somebody who does the kind of work that I do, transformational work, you work with clients, you work with participants in your programs, whatever it might be. This can be a very, very beneficial energy to you because it can help you to elevate people that way. And sometimes the pattern interrupt, which is a critical component of any kind of initiation, can be shocking. But if it's delivered with compassion and love at the right time, when somebody's ready and when they're asking for it, which is what clients are asking for support, right? Then it can be incredibly empowering and mind opening and just hugely beneficial for the people that you work with. So I know for me, I use the 51 all the time when I am mentoring clients, when I do readings, when I'm working with my one-on-one clients. I use the 51 all the time, but I always try to use it with a soft voice because just the energy of breaking up patterns is disruptive enough. And you don't have to add a lot of intensity to it. You really don't. And it's better if you don't, because then people can receive it better. So what the earth is inviting us while this is lit up is to ground ourselves in our ability to initiate ourselves first into a higher consciousness state. Now, this is what I do with Kundalini Yoga every day. So I teach Kundalini Yoga because through Kundalini Yoga, we can elevate our consciousness. We can elevate our frequency. And that's why I have a bunch of, if you go to the playlist here that says gifts for my audience, there's a bunch of Kundalini Yoga in there. There's also a bunch inside of the Becoming Sovereign Quantum Retreat Center, because we can initiate ourselves into a higher frequency. And it does break up old energy. It helps us to release old emotions. And sometimes it's disruptive. Sometimes it is, because energy, like when it breaks up in your system and then it's getting released, it can be a little disruptive, right? I mean, there have been times when I've had tears, there have been times when my whole body is shaking, right? But it's awesome because it's all in the service of being able to elevate one's energy and one's frequency and to initiate yourself into higher consciousness.